Before we begin, I want to take a moment to honor the cultures behind the stories we are about to explore. The tales shared here come from many peoples, lands, and traditions. I do not change these stories to fit modern expectations or to align with today's social standards. Instead, I present them as they were told, sometimes beautiful, sometimes harsh, sometimes challenging. We are not here to judge the past, but to understand it, to listen, to learn, and to honor the ancestors who carried these stories forward. We also share stories from various religious traditions. These are presented in their historical and spiritual context, with respect for their beliefs that they represent. Every culture deserves respect, context, and acknowledgement, and this space is dedicated to doing exactly that. Story 1: Noah's Rainbow, the Covenant of Return. After the floodwaters covered the earth and the world known to humanity disappeared beneath endless rain, there came a silence unlike anything before it. The storms ceased, the waters slowly withdrew, and Noah stepped from the ark onto ground that felt both new and uncertain. Around him stretched a world emptied of its former life, washed clean but marked forever by what had occurred. Survival itself carried weight, the future had not yet been rebuilt, and the earth stood suspended between devastation and beginning. Then, across the clearing sky appeared a rainbow. In Hebrew tradition, the rainbow is not understood merely as a natural event, but as a covenant, a sacred promise placed within the heavens. God declares that never again will the earth be destroyed by flood in the same way. The rainbow becomes a visible sign of continuity between the divine and all living beings. What makes the symbol powerful is that it comes only after the storm. It does not prevent destruction, nor erase what has already happened. Instead, it appears afterward, carrying the message that life can continue even after immense loss. The rainbow stretches between worlds, between what ended and what still remains possible. Its beauty exists beside memory of devastation, not in denial of it. This is why the story endures. Noah does not enter a perfect future. He enters one that must still be rebuilt through labor, faith, and uncertainty. The promise is not that suffering will never come again, but that life itself will endure beyond it. Over generations, the rainbow becomes more than a sign in the sky. It becomes a recurring reminder woven into nature itself, appearing again and again after rain as evidence that renewal follows disruption. Storms continue to exist, but so does the return of light. In this way, the rainbow teaches that hope is not the absence of hardship, but the continuation that follows it. The story reflects a profound understanding of resilience. Human life moves through cycles of destruction and rebuilding, grief and restoration, endings and beginnings. The covenant represented by the rainbow suggests that even when the world changes irreversibly, existence itself continues forward. What emerges afterward may not be identical to what came before, but it can still hold meaning, beauty, and life. Thus, Noah's rainbow stands as a symbol of hope as returning presence. It reminds us that survival is not the end of the story, but the beginning of what comes next. Every rainbow becomes a quiet echo of that ancient promise stretched across the sky, that storms may come, but life continues beyond them. Story 2: Nüwa repairs the sky, the hands that restore the world. In the earliest stages of the world, when heaven and earth were still fragile and the forces of existence moved unpredictably, disaster struck the cosmos itself. According to Chinese mythology, the rebellious being Gonggong crashed into one of the great pillars supporting the sky, causing the heavens to split apart. Fire spread across the land, flood overwhelmed the earth, and chaos consumed the natural order. The world did not completely end, but it became unstable, a place where life could no longer continue safely. It was then that Nüwa, creator goddess and protector of humanity, stepped forward. Rather than destroying the chaos through force, Nüwa restored the world through patience and labor. Seeing the suffering below, she gathered 5 colored stones representing the elements of creation and melted them together to repair the cracks in the sky. Piece by piece, she sealed the broken heavens. To stabilize the earth further, she cut the legs from a giant turtle and used them as new pillars to hold the sky aloft. She redirected the floods, subdued dangerous forces, and reshaped the world into something capable of sustaining life again. Yet the world was not restored perfectly. The sky remained slightly tilted, and rivers continued to flow unevenly across the earth. This detail is essential to the meaning of the story. Nüwa does not erase what happened. Instead, she creates stability within a changed world. Life continues not because the damage disappears, but because restoration becomes possible after catastrophe. The story reflects a powerful understanding of hope as active renewal. Nüwa does not wait for harmony to return on its own. She participates directly in rebuilding the broken world. Her actions suggest that healing comes through effort, creativity, and persistence. Even when systems collapse, existence can still be reshaped into something livable again. The use of many colored stones also symbolizes the idea that restoration requires different elements working together. Healing is not singular or simple. It is formed through balance, cooperation, and adaptation. The repaired world carries scars, but it still supports life. Thus, the story of Nüwa repairing the sky becomes a reflection of hope through restoration. It teaches that brokenness does not mean permanence of ruin, even after collapse. There remains the possibility of rebuilding something strong enough to carry life forward. In every act of repair, care, and renewal, there is the echo of Nüwa lifting the heavens back into place. Story 3: The Reign of the Ancestors, when the sky answers the earth. Among the Zulu people, rain is understood as far more than weather. It is life itself, the force that nourishes crops, restores rivers, and sustains the community. When the rains fail, the absence is felt everywhere. The ground hardens, food becomes uncertain, animals weaken, and daily life begins to struggle beneath the weight of drought. Yet within Zulu understanding, drought is not viewed simply as random misfortune. Rain is deeply connected to the Amadlozi, the ancestors who remain spiritually present after death and continue guiding the living. The relationship between people, land, and ancestor must remain balanced. When that harmony weakens, life itself becomes strained. During times of drought, the community gathers together rather than suffering in isolation. Elders lead ceremonies, prayers are spoken, songs rise into the air, and offerings are made with care and reverence. These acts are not demands for control over nature, but expressions of connection. The people call upon the ancestors not to command the rain, but to restore harmony between worlds. There is often a long waiting. Then, slowly, the air changes. Clouds gather where the sky had once remained empty. Wind moves across the land. The scent of moisture arrives before the first drops finally fall. When the rain comes, it is received not only with relief, but with recognition. It is understood as response, as a sign that the bond between the living and the ancestors remains active. This story reflects hope as relationship rather than certainty. Rain cannot be forced, and the ceremonies do not guarantee immediate results. Instead, they reinforce trust that connection still exists, even during absence. People continue reaching outward toward one another, toward the land, and toward those who came before them. This understanding gives deeper meaning to renewal. The returning rain nourishes crops, but it also restores emotional and spiritual balance within the community. It reminds people that life continues through participation, memory, and reverence for the unseen relationships that sustain existence over time. The unpredictability of rain becomes part of its lesson. Life cannot always be controlled, only nurtured through patience and connection. Even during silence, the relationship remains. Thus, the reign of the ancestors stands as a reflection of hope as returning connection. It teaches that renewal often arrives through relationships maintained during hardship, through remembrance, and through faith that absence is not abandonment. Like rain returning to dry earth, life flows again when balance is restored. Story 4: Nüwa Nüwa, the pathway of color between worlds. In Hawaiian tradition, the rainbow is more than a natural phenomenon. Known as a Nüwa Nüwa, it is understood as a spiritual presence, a bridge between realms, and a visible sign of connection between the human world and the divine. Across Hawaii, rainbows appear frequently over mountains, valleys, and oceans after rain. Because of their constant presence, they become deeply woven into native Hawaiian cultural understanding. Rather than being viewed as rare accidents of weather, rainbows are often seen as pathways through which the Akua, the gods, and the Aumakua, ancestral spirits, move between worlds. In many traditions, the appearance of a rainbow signals protection, guidance, or sacred presence. A rainbow stretching above a person or place may be interpreted as a blessing or acknowledgement from the spiritual world. Chiefs, ancestors, and divine beings are all associated with Nüwa Nüwa in various stories and beliefs. What gives the rainbow its deeper meaning is that it exists only through the meeting of opposites. Rain and sunlight must come together for it to appear. In this way, Nüwa Nüwa reflects the idea that hope does not emerge separate from hardship, but through transformation after it. The storm passes, the light returns, and between them appears something beautiful and temporary, yet deeply meaningful. The connection to Aumakua also reinforces the belief that ancestors remain present even after death. They continue guiding and protecting the living through signs within the natural world. Seeing a rainbow during an important moment may therefore feel like reassurance that one is not alone, that the past still walks beside the present. This transforms hope into something relational rather than isolated. Life moves through continuity, through bonds between generations, between people and land, between visible and invisible worlds. The rainbow becomes a thread connecting all of them together. Thus, the story of Nüwa reflects hope as visible connection. It teaches that moments of beauty often arrive after difficulty, not erasing what happened, but placing it within a larger pattern of continuity. Every rainbow becomes a reminder that life remains interconnected, guided by relationships that continue, even when unseen. Like an arc of living color across the sky, Nüwa reminds us that existence is never entirely separated from what came before it. The connection remains, stretching quietly between worlds. Daily Thread for May 27th. Hope does not erase a storm, it follows it. What breaks can still be restored. Life answers when you stay in relationship with it. Not all returns are immediate, but they come. You are never as alone as it may feel. Signs appear when you are willing to see them. What has ended does not stop what continues. Life always finds a way to begin again.